A little girl's voice breaks the quiet of a fading sunset. "Please, stranger, save Mommy's heart," she pleads, hands clasped in prayer, tears streaming down her cheeks. You, watching now, have you ever seen a child's faith trigger a miracle that shocks a whole town? What if one desperate prayer reveals a heavenly secret, turning heartbreak into hope? This is Emily's story, a 7-year-old whose belief sparks an incredible chain of events, and a stranger whose hidden truth shows heaven can step in when all seems lost. Ask yourself, when did you last trust in something bigger? Now, step into Willow Creek, a small town where streets curve gently and neighbors chat over fences. The old church steeple rises high, a spot for comfort in tough times. On the edge of town sits a simple cottage, its paint peeling and garden overgrown with weeds where roses used to grow. That's home to Emily, a girl with blonde curls and bright blue eyes, full of the kind of innocent wonder that makes you smile. She carries her Bible everywhere, reciting verses her grandma taught her, convinced God hears every word. But these days, her usual energy is gone, replaced by a worry too big for her small shoulders. Emily's mom, Sarah, is the center of her world, a single mother who works long hours at the local diner, serving meals with a warm smile despite her exhaustion. Sarah's hands are rough from scrubbing counters and flipping burgers, but they've always kept their little family going, making dinners from whatever's in the pantry and reading bedtime stories that end with hugs. Lately, though, Sarah's strength is fading. She has a rare heart problem, something the doctors call a congenital defect, with weak valves and beats that skip irregularly. It started small, shortness of breath after a shift, a flutter she'd brush off as nothing. But it got worse. Dizzy spells that made her drop trays, nights clutching her chest in pain while Emily watched from the hall, scared and helpless. "Mommy, does it hurt bad?" Emily asked one evening, climbing into bed and pressing her ear to Sarah's chest, listening to the uneven rhythm. Sarah pulled her close, forcing a smile. "It's just tired, sweetie. We'll get through it." But her eyes showed the fear. The treatments cost a fortune. Specialists are miles away, and their savings are gone. Emily nodded, but inside, she felt the weight. "Can I pray for you?" she whispered, and Sarah nodded, holding her hand as Emily's small voice filled the room. "God, make Mommy's heart strong again." The town knows about it. Willow Creek is close-knit. News spreads fast at the store or church. Sarah's struggling, people say, dropping off meals or saying prayers. Emily's Aunt Clara, a practical woman with a big heart, comes by often, helping with chores and sitting with Sarah. "Hang in there," Clara tells her sister, then turns to Emily with a braid or a story to distract her. "Your mom's tough, kiddo. Remember that time she fixed the roof in the rain? Laughed the whole way." Emily giggles at the memory, a light moment amid the worry, her childlike wonder shining through as she adds, "And she made pancakes after, even though we were soaked." Those tender stories keep spirits up, but the help feels like Band-Aids on a deep wound. Prayers are plenty, but real fixes are out of reach, bills stacking up like unanswered questions. Emily won't give up, though. Her faith is her rock, simple and strong, from church lessons and Bible tales of miracles. Each night she kneels by her bed, the room quiet except for her words. "God, heal Mommy. Send help, like you did for the people in the stories." She pictures it clearly, help arriving just in time, like a hero in her favorite books. One afternoon, with leaves blowing across the yard, everything hits hard. Sarah collapses in the kitchen, face pale, hand on her chest, gasping. Emily freezes, then yells for help. "Mommy! Hold on!" The ambulance comes fast, sirens blaring, taking Sarah to the hospital. Doctors talk in low voices. She needs surgery, but it's expensive. Long wait without money. Emily stays with Clara, but her mind races. "I can't just wait," she tells her aunt, who nods distractedly while on the phone. Emily grabs her backpack, stuffs in her Bible, and a drawing of her family, stick figures smiling under a sun. "I'm going to find help," she whispers to herself, slipping out the door. Her steps lead to the town park, a peaceful spot with paths and benches, centered by an old oak tree that stood for generations. Kids play nearby, but Emily finds a quiet place under the tree, drops to her knees on the grass. "God, please, send someone now. Mommy can't wait." Tears fall as she prays, her voice steady despite the fear. That's when she spots him, the stranger on a nearby bench. His coat is neat but worn, face lined with quiet stories, eyes gray and thoughtful. He looks out of place, like he's carrying something heavy. Emily stands, heart pounding, and walks over. "Sir, can you help?" she asks, voice small but clear. He looks up, surprised, but his face softens. "What's wrong, kid?" Emily takes a breath. "My mommy's sick. Her heart. Doctors say she needs help, but we can't afford it. I've been praying, and maybe you're the one God sent." He pauses, something flickering in his eyes. Shock, or maybe recognition. "Praying, huh? That's brave. Tell me more." Emily sits, words spilling out. Sarah's job, her kindness at the diner, the pain that's stealing her away. "She sings to me at night, even when she's tired," Emily says, voice cracking. "I don't want to lose that." The stranger nods, listening closely as the sun sets lower, shadows growing. "Sounds like a good mom. Faith like yours. It's special." Emily smiles a little, wonder in her eyes. "You think God hears me?" He hesitates. "Maybe. Let's see what we can do." As they talk, a jogger passes, glancing curiously, but no one stops them. Emily feels a spark of hope. This man might be the answer. But questions build. Who is he? Why does he care? The air thickens with possibility, teasing what's next. A secret that could change everything. Hold tight, viewer. What happens now will pull you in deeper. As the sun slipped fully below the horizon, leaving Willow Creek wrapped in the soft blue of twilight, Emily and the stranger, Mr. Elias, as he'd introduced himself, sat on that park bench, the old oak tree's branches creaking softly in the breeze. Fireflies started to appear, little dots of light that made Emily point and smile for a second, her childlike wonder breaking through the worry. "Look, they're like tiny lanterns," she said, giggling briefly before her face grew serious again. "Mommy and I used to catch them in jars on summer nights. She'd laugh and say they were God's nightlights." Mr. Elias nodded, a small smile tugging at his lips, the kind that showed he was really listening. "Sounds like good memories. Tell me more about her. What makes your mom special?" Emily leaned in, her words coming easier now, painting a clear picture of Sarah, the way she'd hum old hymns while flipping pancakes on lazy Sundays, or how she'd help neighbors with groceries even when her own fridge was half empty. "She's always there for people," Emily said, "like last winter when Mrs. Jenkins next door was sick. Mommy brought her soup every day, even though she was tired from work." Mr. Elias's gray eyes softened, but there was a distant look, like her stories were stirring up his own thoughts. He shifted on the bench, his coat rustling, and asked, "And her heart? When did it start acting up?" Emily explained the details she'd overheard from doctors, the skipped beats, the pain that came in waves, her voice steady but her hands fidgeting with her backpack strap. "I hear it sometimes, like a drum that's off rhythm. It scares me." As they talked, a jogger passed by, slowing to glance at the odd pair, a little girl and a stranger deep in conversation. "Everything okay here?" the jogger called out, concern in his voice. Emily waved him off. "We're fine. He's helping." But the interruption added a layer of tension. What if someone thought it was weird? Mr. Elias seemed unfazed, but Emily caught a flicker in his eyes, like he was used to people questioning him. The talk stretched on, Emily sharing more about her prayers, how she'd kneel by her bed every night asking for help. "Do you pray?" she asked him directly, tilting her head with that innocent curiosity kids have. He paused, rubbing a scar on his hand, a detail Emily noticed but didn't ask about yet. "I used to," he admitted, his voice low. "A long time ago. Life changes things." Emily frowned, not understanding fully but sensing a sadness. "But God doesn't change. That's what my Bible says." Her words hung there, simple and true, making Mr. Elias look away for a moment, as if wrestling with something inside. You know that feeling, don't you, when a child's straightforward faith hits you right in the chest? It was pulling at him, no doubt. Finally, he stood up. "Come on, kid. Let's go see your mom. Maybe I can talk to the doctors." Emily's face lit up, wonder in her eyes. "Really? You mean it?" He nodded, offering his hand, and they started walking, her small steps hurrying to match his longer ones. The streets were quiet now, street lamps clicking on one by one, casting warm pools of light that guided their way to the hospital. Along the path, Emily chattered more, sharing a funny story to lighten the mood. "Once, Mommy tried to bake cookies for my birthday, but she mixed up salt and sugar. They were awful, but we laughed so hard we cried." Mr. Elias chuckled softly, a rare sound. Sounds like the kind of mom worth fighting for. It was a tender moment, her childlike joy cutting through the heaviness, reminding him and us of the simple beauties in family life. They arrived at the hospital, the building's lights bright against the night, the entrance buzzing with the comings and goings of nurses and visitors. Inside, the hall smelled of clean floors and faint coffee from the waiting area, the fluorescent bulbs humming overhead. Emily led the way to Sarah's room, pushing the door open quietly. Sarah lay there, hooked up to machines that beeped steadily, her face pale but her eyes opening at the sound. "Emily? Who's with you?" she asked, voice weak but curious, sitting up a bit with effort. Emily rushed over, hugging her carefully. "This is Mr. Elias, Mommy. I met him at the park. He's going to help." Sarah looked at him, a mix of gratitude and caution in her eyes. "Help? How?" Mr. Elias stepped closer, his tone respectful. "Your daughter told me about your situation. I'm familiar with heart issues. Mind if I speak to your doctor?" Sarah nodded slowly, intrigued. "If you think you can make a difference, sure, but we've heard a lot of maybes already." While Emily sat by the bed, holding Sarah's hand and whispering, "See? God sent him." Mr. Elias pulled the doctor aside in the hallway. The conversation started polite, but turned tense fast. "She's got a congenital defect. Valves aren't holding up," the doctor explained, flipping through charts. "Surgery could fix it, but it's specialized, expensive, and our funding's tight. Waiting list is months." Mr. Elias leaned in. "What if I told you I know a way? I used to handle cases like this." The doctor raised an eyebrow. "Used to? You a doctor?" Mr. Elias hesitated, then nodded. "Was. Specialized in cardiac repairs. But I stepped away years ago." The doctor's skepticism kicked in. "No license now? Can't just waltz in here. Protocols." Man, this was the start of the pushback. Antagonistic voices from staff chiming in as word spread, a nurse overhearing and muttering, "Who is this guy? We can't risk it." Bureaucracy reared its head, forms and calls to admins piling up, creating roadblocks that heightened the stakes. Back in the room, Emily sensed the trouble, her face falling. "Is something wrong?" she asked Mr. Elias when he returned, looking frustrated. He knelt to her level. "They're being careful, but don't worry. Faith moves mountains, right?" He echoed her earlier phrase, making her smile, a purposeful repeat that boosted her spirits. "Yeah. Like in the story of the mustard seed. Tiny faith, big results." Her wonder shone through, turning the moment tender as she added, "Mommy, remember when we planted seeds in the garden? Even the small ones grew." Sarah smiled weakly. "You're my little seed of hope." But the challenges kept coming. Sarah's monitor suddenly beeped irregularly, her face twisting in pain. "It hurts," she gasped, clutching her chest. Nurses rushed in, adjusting IVs and checking vitals. "Episode's passing, but she's weakening," one said. Emily's eyes filled with tears. "Please don't go, Mommy." The scare ramped up the urgency. An open loop dangling. Would Sarah hold on? Mr. Elias paced the hall, his own doubts surfacing in a quiet confession to himself. "I quit for a reason. Lost a patient, a mom like her. Couldn't face it again." Flashbacks hit him. The bright OR lights, the failed surgery, the guilt that drove him away from medicine and God. But Emily's voice pulled him back, calling from the room. "Mr. Elias? Pray with us?" He joined them, kneeling by the bed, their hands linked. "God, give us strength," Emily led, her simple words cutting through the noise. A warmth spread, like a spark igniting, but doubt lingered in his eyes. What was his full story? Why the scar on his hand? The tension built as Aunt Clara arrived, out of breath. "Emily, what have you done bringing a stranger here?" she demanded, protective. Emily stood her ground. "He's good, Aunt Clara. Listen, he knows about hearts." Clara crossed her arms. "Prove it," Mr. Elias explained briefly. Admitting his past as a surgeon but holding back the deeper secret, a vision years ago, a divine call to heal that he'd ignored after his failure. "I can help, but they won't let me without clearance." Clara softened a bit. "Then fight for it. For her." Word spread through the town like a ripple. Clara called friends, who called more, and soon a small group gathered outside, holding signs and praying. "For Sarah!" one shouted. Inside, debates heated up with hospital admins on speakerphone. "Unlicensed? No way," one said. But his record, he pioneered techniques. Another countered. The back and forth dragged, suspense mounting as Sarah's condition stabilized but hovered on the edge. Emily tugged Mr. Elias's sleeve. "Tell them more, please." He shared a bit more, voice steady. "I saved dozens before I stopped. Give me a chance." The midpoint hit when the doctor returned. "Board's reviewing, but if we wait too long..." He trailed off, leaving the threat unspoken. Emily turned to Mr. Elias. "What's your secret?" "I know there's something." He sighed, revealing a piece. "I had a calling once. A dream that said I'd heal to make up for my mistakes. Ignored it till now." Her eyes widened in wonder. "Like a message from God? That's amazing." The revelation added layers, but questions piled up. Would the board approve? Could he overcome his past? Outside, the crowd grew. Candles lit against the dark, their chants a steady hum. "Heal Sarah! Faith wins!" Inside, Emily shared another light moment to ease the weight. "Mommy, remember the time we built a fort in the living room and pretended it was a castle? You were the queen with the strong heart." Sarah laughed faintly. "And you were the brave knight. We'll do it again soon." The tender exchange balanced the tension, Emily's wonder a spark of joy. But as midnight neared, a call came. The board's decision teetered, admins arguing ethics. "One more review," they said. Sarah winced again. Another small episode. "Hurry," the doctor urged. Mr. Elias clenched his fists, his secret burning inside. What if revealing it all was the key? The stakes rose higher, pulling everyone taut. You feel it building, right? That pull toward the edge, where faith meets action. What happens next could break or mend everything. Hold on. The turning point is close. As dawn's light crept through the hospital windows, shifting the sky from dark to pale blue, the operating room pulsed with urgent energy. The team had pushed through the night after the board's hard-won okay, swayed by Dr. Elias's track record and the doctor's urgent push. "We're out of options. Let him try." Now, in scrubs, he hovered over Sarah, the sharp gleam of tools under the harsh lights mirroring the high stakes. "Start the incision," he directed, voice calm but firm. Monitor her vitals close. We can't afford slips. The beeps were steady at first, but tension built fast as they opened her chest, exposing the faulty heart. Outside, Emily fidgeted in the waiting room with Aunt Clara, twisting her Bible's pages. "How long till we know?" she asked, eyes wide. Clara knelt beside her. "Soon, kiddo. Want to make a plea together?" Emily nodded, closing her eyes. "God, fix Mommy's heart like you fixed the blind man's eyes in the story. Make it a wonder we can see." In her mind, she pictured heaven as a big garden, full of light and laughter, where sick hearts got new beats, her childlike vision adding a spark of awe amid the fear. "Do you think angels are watching the surgery?" she whispered to Clara, wonder in her tone. Clara smiled softly. "Maybe, sweetie. Your belief is something special." The growing crowd outside held vigil, signs waving. "Hope for Sarah." Whispers spread. "That stranger's operating?" Risky, but bold. Candles flickered, a quiet show of support building the suspense. Would this gamble pay off? In the OR, crisis hit hard. "Pressure's crashing," a nurse shouted, alarm screaming as Sarah's heart stuttered, the defect fighting back mid-repair. Dr. Elias's hands paused, the room freezing. "Defib ready. Push epinephrine," he barked, sweat dripping. "Come on, Sarah. Fight." The assisting surgeon hesitated. "We abort? This is too unstable." Dr. Elias shook his head. "No, we push through. I've seen worse." Tension spiked. Dialogue flying. Vitals dropping further. "Stabilize the rhythm, now." He worked frantically, threading the bypass with shaking precision, the complication dragging minutes into what felt like hours. "If we lose her," a tech muttered, but Dr. Elias cut in. "We won't. Hold the line." His mind raced to his past failure, the guilt surging, but he shoved it down, muttering, "One fix at a time." Finally, the graft took, monitor steadying. "It's holding," the surgeon said, relief breaking. "You did it," Dr. Elias exhaled. "Not alone. Divine help, maybe." The breakthrough came, but the shock was just starting, his secret ready to unfold. News shot out. "She's through!" A nurse burst into the waiting room. "Surgery worked. Your mom's stable." Emily leaped up, joy exploding. "She's okay?" "Really?" Clara hugged her tight. "Yes. Let's see her." They dashed to recovery, Sarah's eyes opening slowly, machines humming softly. "Emily?" she croaked, hand reaching. Emily grabbed it, tears falling. "Mommy, you're fixed." Sarah managed to smile. "What happened?" Emily beamed. "Mr. Elias saved you. He's a doctor with a secret." Dr. Elias entered, mask off, looking drained but transformed. "Your girl's belief pulled me in. Time to explain." The room quieted as he sat, voice even. "I was a leading heart specialist, fixed many. But a bad case, a patient lost, a mom gone, broke me. Quit everything, even my trust in something higher, wandered alone." Emily tilted her head, wonder sparking. "But that's not the whole story, right? You mentioned a dream." He nodded, the reveal landing like a bombshell. "After that loss, a vision came, a clear call. Heal again to redeem yourself. A child's appeal will guide you." Dismissed it as nonsense, buried it deep, until Emily. Sarah's breath caught. "A divine nudge? Like straight from above?" Dr. Elias teared up. "Yes, echoes the prodigal son, running from purpose, then returning humbled." Her words were my turning point. Emily's eyes lit with awe. "Like the lost coin found, all shiny and new. God used me to find you." She hugged him. "You're our breakthrough." Sarah gripped his hand. "You gave me a second chance. Grateful doesn't cover it." The shock spread, nurses buzzing. "A vision? That's wild." Word hit the crowd outside, gasps rising. "He had a heavenly call? No way." Phones buzzed with shares. Willow Creek Wonder. Doctor's divine secret saves mom. The emotional high surged. Hugs and tears flowing as family reconnected. Emily added lightness. Mommy, remember the time we baked cookies for my birthday, but we mixed up salt and sugar? Let's bake real cookies this time. No salt mix-up, Sarah chuckled. Promise, my little knight, Clara wiped her eyes. This changes everything. Dr. Elias addressed them. Emily's appeal started it. She showed me breakthroughs come when we heed the call. Resolutions clicked in. Funds rolled in from inspired townsfolk. Diner benefits. Church drives covering costs. For Sarah's new beginning, they said. Ties strengthened. Neighbors formed check-in groups, sharing meals and stories. Dr. Elias stayed, relicensing quickly, starting a clinic to train others. Giving back, he told Emily during a park walk. Your spark lit the way, she grinned, full of wonder. And heaven helped, like stars guiding ships. At a tight town meeting under the oak, Dr. Elias spoke briefly. Ignored a divine nudge for years, a vision to heal and atone. Emily's appeal unveiled it, pulling me back like Jonah from the whale. Murmurs of awe. Biblical. Shocking. People shared quick tales. Reminds me of my own turnaround. Emily added, anyone can listen for their call. Cheers erupted. The moment electric. Stakes resolved in unity. Sarah wrapped up. This breakthrough mended more than my heart, our whole community. Like a journey from dark valley to sunlit peak, their path showed faith's power. The tone lifted to pure joy, inspiring without excess. You feel that rush, don't you? When belief turns the tide. Think. What's your overlooked nudge? A small step that could lead to your breakthrough? In Willow Creek, effects lasted. Sarah, back at work, testifying over coffee, felt the end coming, but an appeal brought intervention. Patrons listened, moved to kindness. Emily shared at school. God sent a doctor with a hidden call. Just pray and see. Her wonder spread, kids drawing their own heaven gardens. Dr. Elias hosted sessions, mixing skills with faith chats. Heed your inner voice. One family dinner, Sarah cooked. Emily set the table. Fort building tonight? Emily asked, eyes sparkling. With Mr. Elias. He's part of us now. He joined, the group sharing a plea of thanks. You redeemed me, he told Emily. We all got redeemed, she replied. The story closed with renewed hope, deeper connections, more compassion, trust in the divine rekindled. It's proof. Trials build to triumphs when we answer the call. Dear viewer, this Faith and Family Fable highlights appeals, power, family's resilience, heavenly nudges that stun and restore. What's your tale of intervention? Drop it below. Inspire others. Like if it touched you. Subscribe for more. Enable notifications. Let's share this hope. One view, one story at a time. Your breakthrough might be waiting.